you about the new EPICC framework. It's been quite a long time coming, and a lot of the regional career development officers have put a lot of work into this particular framework. So it's great to be able to present it to you today. And it's really been the missing piece of the puzzle. We've had the curriculum framework, we've had the career action plans, and lots of great stuff happening in the classrooms for our young people. But we know that parents are really, really important in this process. So to be able to have a framework like the EPICC framework, it really is exciting to have it happening. And as I said, a lot of people have put some work into this. We've also had a lot of support from the CEAV, also from people like Ray Pennell. A lot of the resources from his particular projects, Hopefield Engagement, Guiding Circles, have been used. We've also used some of the resources from Lasting Gifts and other things that are out there. So what we hope we're presenting you today is a really good resource that you can use in so many different ways in your school. So we'll just move to the first slide. And just to really reflect on why parents are so important, there's been lots of research over a number of years now, both in Australia and internationally, about the influence of parents. And a lot of it basically is summed up in that first point. Parents are the single greatest influence on their child's education and career decisions. When you start looking at the amount of time that young people spend in formal learning environments, as in school, as the graph actually shows you there, it's only 18.5% of their time is actually in those formal learning environments. So, you know, a lot of what happens outside is a major influence on their career decisions, and parents are a huge part of that. As it says in the slide there, parents need to navigate the available ecology of resources and use them to support the learning and development of their children. And schools alone are not sufficient to enable the optimal academic and personal development of youth. Education also occurs at home. And so that's what EPICC is really about, empowering parents to play the best part they can in supporting their young people. So it's not just about information, it's not about just supplying parents with the information they need. It also helps them reflect on their own career journey and start to think about the best ways that they can actually support their children. Now, at any stage during the presentation, please stop me at any stage. I'm brand new to presenting a webinar. I haven't used the technology before, so I'll be watching the screen and seeing what people are saying. So if you want to interrupt me at any stage, please do so, because we want to make this as interactive as possible. Okay, so what is EPICC? So it's an online framework that careers practitioners can use to engage parents in the career development of young people. It contains a wide variety of resources, and as I said, it's been drawn from lots of different sources. So we've basically tried to take the best practice out there and to see how we can use that to help parents have a meaningful discussion with their children. I've got up just a screenshot of the original, how the screen looked for the EPICC program. I've also got there the link, which I can't actually bring up the website at the moment, but Bernadette has typed that link into the panel on the side there. So if any of you actually want to open that link while we're talking to have a look at any of the resources, please do so. And that's really what we're hoping that you get out of today, just a very brief snapshot, and to encourage you to go and have a look at the resources. And once you've looked at those resources, then engage in one of the PDs that the RCDOs will be providing over the next couple of months. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we move through it. But the emphasis really is that it is a range of resources that you can use in a variety of ways. And there's stuff in there that you can actually use in your own classrooms, you can use in individual conversations with parents, or as a whole workshop done over one night, or maybe over even several nights. When we're talking about parents in the EPICC program, it is a really broad definition. As it says there, we're referring to any caring adult or influential community member in a young person's life. So it's intended to refer to any adult wishing to play a positive role in helping a young person build their future. So, you know, there's a range of people within the community that may play that role, and EPICC could be used with all of those people. Okay, so as we said, who can we use it with? So obviously it is geared towards parents, carers, but teachers as well. In most cases, a lot of the teachers in your school will be parents as well. So the EPICC program can be used to support them. It also, because it does give you a really great introduction to career development, it's a resource that you can use to PD staff about some of the current thinking about career development and getting them to reflect themselves on their own career journey. School support staff, obviously really, really important. They often have a very special relationship with students, and so they need to be included in this process. Lots of schools have out-of-school hours sort of programs, staff involved in that, and obviously lots of community groups that are involved with schools. All of those are people that you can actually use the EPICC resource with. I mean, we want people to use it in any way that they think it can be used. The RCDOs are there to really support you in that. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so when would you be using the EPICC program? Again, it really is up to the individual schools as to where it's going to best fit. All of the research shows that young people start thinking about careers, start talking about careers very early on, and that's why there will be a new Victorian Careers Curriculum Framework come out for grades 3 to 6, and the COV have been working on that, and so that will be available very soon. And again, the RCDOs will be doing some work with primary schools to support them with that. So we think that the transition from 6 to 7 is a really good time to actually use some of the EPICC material. You wouldn't use all of it, but again, as we said, it's there to be used in whichever way you think possible. So you might just use some slides, one of the transition nights. You might offer a 2-hour program to some of their parents, but parents are usually really engaged through grades 5 and grade 6. They want to know more about high school. They want to know about the pathway that their young people are about to embark on, and so I think it's a really great way of using the EPICC program. It's a great way for secondary schools to get involved with their feeder primary schools. So in terms of a secondary school coming up with a night where they can get parents from grade 5 and 6 up to the school to talk about high school, they could build a whole lot of the EPICC materials into those sorts of nights. Obviously years 9 to 10 is another key transition point, especially as more and more young people start to do VCE subjects and VET subjects in year 10. It's becoming a much more important transition point. So again, EPICC could be used as part of the traditional sort of information nights, but it also could be used as a full-on workshop. I mean, I think the way I would probably use it would be to introduce it at a parent night, some of the materials, and say, okay, 2 weeks' time, we're going to put on a dinner at school, invite people to come along, and we'll take you through some more of this material. You've really got to think about, you know, the best way to engage parents. Food is always a really good way to engage parents and teachers. Year 10 to 11 is one of the obvious ones, but I really think a lot of the EPICC stuff, the conversations that you want parents to have with their young people, they do need to start earlier. So the earlier the better, and obviously even year 12 to post schools. So there's certainly lots of areas that you can use EPICC in. Said we can use the existing school events like parent-teacher interviews, year 7 barbecues, open days, but sometimes you just need to think of, you know, more left field ideas as to how you could actually engage parents. And every school is different. Every school will have a range of parents. Some will have parents from different cultural groups, and you've really got to look at what is the best way to engage them. And I suppose one of the examples I can give is at one of my schools, and this is going back to the 1980s when there was the first wave of Vietnamese immigration to Australia. We were trying to engage Vietnamese mothers, and we were having a lot of trouble getting them into the school. And we did a fair bit of research and discovered that the one thing that was really valued within, or one of the things that was valued within the family was for the mothers to have good cooking skills. So we started up a cooking program for the mothers to come in, and we just had 40 or 50 mothers coming into the school. And as part of